Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Online Business Growth Toolkit for Soulful and Intuitive Entrepreneurs Online Summit. My name is Inga Deksne, and I'm host of this summit. And today we talk with my dear friend, Gayle Edwards, and we will be talking about using your brand voice to create brand choice, how to create impact, and extend your influence through your personal brand. And I will allow Gayle to introduce herself. She does magical work, and Gayle is also one of the speakers at the live event, Magical Creators. So if you feel that this session today gave you some inkling, some actionable steps, imagine what can you achieve when you get in a room with this woman. So over to you, Gayle.
Oh, lovely. Thank you very much, Inga, for that amazing build-up. I hope I can live up to it now. Yes, my name is Gayle Edwards. I'm a brand strategist and also positioning strategist. And I specialise in personal branding, especially for people who see themselves as not quite the norm, a little bit like square pegs who find that they're trying to fit into round holes and they can't quite do that. So those type of people I call entrepreneurial disruptors. And they're the people that I work with the most who really want to make a big noise with their brand, but for one reason or another they haven't yet been able to do that because they've been trying to fit into what everybody else in their field is doing. And I'm here today to completely dispel that myth. So anything that you have previously learned or think that you know about brand strategy and positioning and personal branding, we're about to turn that on its head.
Great. And maybe let's start with a main misconception about brands. So I will tell you mine in terms of every time I hear brand, I think about logo, website, business cards.
Absolutely. And Inga, you are no different to everybody else. So the first thing people tend to do when they think about creating a new business or creating even a side hustle, the first thing they think about is, okay, what's it going to look like? What's my logo going to be? What colors do I want? What's my website? And oh my gosh, I need to get some business cards printed. That is the very end of the line on the branding concept, according to myself. Most people start there, and I can tell you that when they go through personal branding, especially with me, in the way that I do it, in the way that I show them how to be more of themselves more of the time, that's also where they end up again, because that's not the starting point. So that's a main misconception, that people start with image. I have four pillars of personal branding: identity, impact, influence, and then image. And that's where logos, websites, business cards, and that kind of thing starts. Now, as you mentioned at the top of this session, I'm going to be speaking about how do you use your brand voice in order to be the brand choice. And brand voice starts with identity. And it's the one area, it's the foundation, but it's the one area most people overlook, because they start from the position of, I know what I'm doing, I know who I do it for, all I need to do is create my ideal client avatar and I'll get sales and off we go. Whilst that may be true for some businesses, that is nowhere near true for entrepreneurial disruptors, not for people who like to do things different, not for people who work from the heart as well and work energetically, because we feel, empaths and intuitives feel. And when we feel and we're trying to go through a process, there is a misalignment. So we have to go from where we start, which is how we feel. We've got to use that energy. And that's where I like to start with my personal branding process. And identity is all about being really clear, not just on who your clients are, but who you are. What is your voice? And every single brand has a voice. And in recent years, as more and more people have become familiar with branding, especially personal branding, they think it's all about how they look. You know, if they wear a certain color all the time, they're wearing their brand colors. You know, if all their social media posts look the same, then they're on brand. That is such a small part of the equation. Your identity is the biggest part by far, by far.
So what do need people do to discover their identity?
Well, the first thing about discovering your identity, it's very much like discovering your voice. Getting clear about your brand voice, very similar to really knowing who you are. And people seem to think that you have a different persona in business than you do in your personal life. You don't. You're the same person. So if you're an energetic, bubbly, charismatic person at home, the chances are that that's also going to be in your business, and they will form part of your brand values. If you're somebody that doesn't like networking, does that mean you can't build a brand? No, it means that you build your brand in a slightly different way. But because the consensus is, oh, in order to build your business, you have to be out there networking. But supposing you don't like networking, and that's when people then start to feel that mismatch. They start to feel like they're the square peg in the round hole because they don't like networking. They don't want to go networking, but everyone's telling them that they need to go networking. There is more than one way to skin a cat. And when you discover your identity, in terms of, okay, I don't like networking. How else can I build my business? How else can I build a community and a tribe if I'm not out there networking in the traditional way? And that's what discovering your identity is all about. It's about finding the ways that work best for you. And when you work best for you, notice my vocabulary, when you work best for you, not for your client, you create something that is very magnetic, because that's when people will start to be attracted to you because you are doing your thing in your way and you give them permission and they suddenly think, that's the person I want to work with. Now, we all know, it's an age-old analogy. We know when it comes to sales, sales trainers since time immemorial have been telling us that people buy people. And even though we're in a digital age, we're doing this online summit now, people still like to be able to have that human-to-human contact. So we hear businesses all the time saying they're in B2B, so they're in the business-to-business economy, or they're in B2C, business-to-consumer. But, I'm here to tell you that all of us are in the H2H economy. Right? We're in the human-to-human economy. We have to be able to make that connection, because that connection is what gives us our difference of distinction, and it's also the thing that helps us with our conversions. That's what attracts the clients to us. So when you're in an H2H economy and you're clear on your identity, you've now got attraction and magnetic marketing going on, because everything then starts to fall in alignment. It's a bit like dominoes. You get it right from the top and they all fall into place. It's exactly the same thing. When you go from the image, i.e. website, logo, business cards, all that kind of stuff, and you're not yet clear, I've worked with clients who've done that, and they've come to me, they then gain their clarity, and all of that has to change. Because how they're presenting to the world is not who they truly are. It's not how they really want to be seen.
Yeah, that's true. I have done it so many times, redoing my business cards, even redoing my websites.
Yeah.
Part of this summit, the aim of the summit is giving something practical that people can
Absolutely.
use in day-to-day life to take their business to the next level. So what you're going to give us today?
Okay, so as I've said, I like to work with entrepreneurial disruptors. I like to work with people who want to make a big noise. They want to make a splash. They want to be seen as different trailblazers, game changers within their marketplace. So I have a whole activity called standing up in your own hallelujah, because we know when hallelujah is about rejoicing, it's about celebrating, it's about being very proud of who you are. So there is an activity which our listeners can download. It's called Standing Up in Your Own Hallelujah. It's about how to create your hallelujah statement. And your hallelujah statement is really about helping you to craft that identity that we've been talking about, helping you to get really clear so that you can stand out from the crowd. Now, just to be really clear, your hallelujah statement is one that grounds you. It may not necessarily be the statement that you see on your website or in all of your copy, but it's the statement that grounds you so that you know that if you are considering a new business opportunity, a collaboration, a new client, that's the filter that they all go through. And that's what determines where and who you work with. And that's what keeps you in alignment, because if it's outside of that, then it's going to be out of alignment with your personal brand. So, for example, my own hallelujah statement is that I am a powerful and intuitive entrepreneur who provides transformational solutions for people who like to help others, heal others, teach others, and also learn from others. Now, that may sound like it kind of incorporates everybody, but it doesn't, because I'm very clear about who I work with. I work with people who like to help, heal, learn, teach. Okay. So mainly coaches, consultants, healers, therapists, practitioners, those types of people. But if an engineer, for example, came to me to help with their personal branding, I would run that through my filter. And depending on the type of engineer, 9 times out of 10, I probably wouldn't work with them, because we would be mismatched. They're not going to get the best of me. I'm not going to get the best of them. And I would refer them on to somebody else. Same with business opportunities. If someone came to me, for example, with a multi-level marketing opportunity, it may sound great, the rewards may sound great, but if it doesn't fit into that criteria, then my answer has to be no. Because whilst people say, oh, but you always need a plan B in business, I don't agree. I just think it distracts you from plan A. So therefore, multi-level marketing in that way would be something I would say no to, because it doesn't fit into my own hallelujah statement. The other great thing about having a hallelujah statement is that it takes you a while to get there. This is not a one exercise and it's done. But the great thing is you're going to end up with a library of phrases and words that still resonate with you, even though they may not appear in your hallelujah statement. They resonate with you, and they're the statements and words that should appear in your copy. That's what provides the connection for you and your audience. We are all very good at communicating, and some of us are very good at converting, i.e. closing the sale, but not many of us are good at that bit in the middle. And that bit in the middle, that connection piece, that's where your vocabulary comes in, that's where your statement comes in, and that's definitely where your personal brand strategy fits in as well, because that's what provides the connection between your audience listening to you and your audience then working with you.
Absolutely. And so this statement you can also use when you go to networking events and when you introduce what you do.
Absolutely.
You can use exactly how you introduce yourself, right?
Absolutely. So, one of the things, another little exercise for your listeners to do, okay, they can prove this point. Think of six coaches that you know who are who do the same kind of thing as you. Look at their websites, okay, look at their photos, and then stand back and ask yourself how you would choose one of those coaches to work with. Because 9 times out of 10, they're all using the same language. Their pictures are more or less the same. The face changes, but the poses, the stances are more or less the same. So the only thing you end up then having to, your deciding factor on who you work with is then price. And the moment you start negotiating on price, you've already lost. And if you are one of those coaches then that's exactly how people are assessing you. They're looking at you, and with everyone else, they're thinking, well, you know, you could as well just close your eyes and go like that. I'll work with that one. So if you really want to be the brand choice, you've got to stand out, and your hallelujah statement's great for that. You know, I worked with somebody literally a couple of days ago who was a coach and said all the usual things about breaking limiting beliefs, overcoming challenges, all that usual kind of stuff. But after we worked together, suddenly she was, you know, a transformation. She was an advocate for transformation, helping people to access that inner power that allows them to go along to inspire and empower others. So very different feel. Even the energy around that is very, very different. Very different. You know, and that's the power of a hallelujah statement, a great hallelujah statement.
And it just reminded me of the situation at the live event in October when we had a survey, and
Yes.
it's, you know, it's like very difficult to stand out because each of them do exactly the same work, right? So how to stand out? And I remember you helped him with this exercise to come up with such a nice statement that he would be the first choice among all people who do the same work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing about when you're creating this statement, it's not about just trying to come up with something different. It's about really being who you are. It's a great exercise to do in a timed environment. It's something that we, as you say, we did in the live event in October. Hopefully we'll have time to do it along with some other things in May as well, because when you allow people to just be themselves, it's amazing what comes out. I was at an event in December where I was one of the keynote speakers, and we went through a very similar event, and the lady stood up and said, oh, well, I can't really do a statement like this because, you know, my job isn't really that important. So I said, well, what is your job? It turns out that she is a trauma specialist that saves people from committing suicide. Oh my goodness. You save people from committing suicide. You're saving people's lives. So we went through the exercise together right there live in the audience. And by the end, I think everyone in that audience, all 200 people, were in tears because her statement was so powerful and so personal and so touching. And she herself, for the rest of that conference, which was 3 days, every time I saw her, she had this big grin on her face, and she kept giving me hugs and, oh, thank you so much. I can't wait to get back in the office. Because now she's liberated. She's realized that not only is she important, but the work that she does is so important. It's not sad work. She may work in a sad environment, but her work is not sad. She's giving people back their lives. So, yeah, when you get it, like I say, it's not a one-hit wonder. It may take some time, but when you get it, it unleashes so much. It really does open up your creativity, opens up your opportunities. It basically opens up your marketplace.
Oh, wonderful. So you will take us through that exercise now, right?
Would you like to go through the exercise now?
Yeah, if it's quick. Well, yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So for those of you that have already been able to download the exercise, great. If you haven't, don't worry. All you need are 4 bits of paper. Okay, 4 bits of blank paper. If you can have different color pens, great, perfect. So on the first piece of paper, I want you to write the word characteristics. And this is going to be a timed exercise. So literally, you have 1 minute to write down as many characteristics about yourself as possible. And it doesn't matter whether they are characteristics that you actually are or characteristics that you would like to be. But write them down and get them out as quickly as possible. No complete sentences, just words. Okay. If you think you're funny, then great, you're funny. If you think that, you know, you're more serious or you're practical, you're an analyst, you're a solutions finder, you're creative, you're dynamic, doesn't matter what they are, just get them all down there. Now, for the purposes of time, we're not going to go through the exact timings, but you would spend a minute on there. On the next blank sheet, you would have the title roles stroke labels. And these are the things that you're calling yourself. What do you call yourself? Are you a coach? Are you a healer? Are you a therapist? Are you a consultant? But be creative as well. You know, I've had people put down things like fire starter, wizard, you know. I've had all kinds of things, magician, all kinds of things come on there, because it's about, what do you really see yourself as? What's your role? What's your label? And again, that's a 1 minute, short, quick fire. Okay. So when you're doing this, set your timer on your mobile phones. Set your timer so that you can do this. Okay. And don't let yourself off the hook. Get as many of those characteristics out as possible. Great. The next one, the third one, is what do you think? What do you think you do? So what do you think you do? So you heard in my I am statement, I think I create transformational solutions. That's what I do. Okay, I create. So again, it doesn't have to be complete sentences, but what is it that you do? I've had people say that they shine a light for other people so that they can have a clear pathway ahead. I've had people say, you know, I provide the magic. It doesn't matter. You can be as conventional as you want. And then lastly, the last piece of paper is, what do others say you do? So this is the stuff that comes out in testimonials. When people are thanking you, you know, even if they're not happy with you, you know, they'll give you some feedback. What is it people say you do?
So for those who do it at home, you can go through your testimonials for this, for the purpose of this exercise.
Absolutely. Right. So once you've done all of that, now you're really up against it, because you take each piece of paper, you get a different color pen, and literally on the characteristics, you've got 5 seconds, that's it, 5 seconds, not 5 minutes, and you circle the 2 characteristics that resonate with you the most. And then you move on, you circulate the role and label that resonates with you the most. 1 second, that's it. You just pick one and move on. The next one is, what is it you think you do? Circle 1, just 1. What is it you think, out of everything you've written, what is it you think you do? Move on. Next one. 4th one is, what is it people say you do? You pick 1 and you move on. So when you look at that now, you've got 2 characteristics, a role, a label. What is it you think you do, and what is it other people say you do? This is by no means the end of the exercise, okay? This is just the start of where you now start to formulate. So, for example, Inga, I saw you writing there, so I'm going to ask you.
Yeah, it's not complete, because I literally wrote like 3 words and 1 sentence is just to jot down for myself.
Yeah. So, characteristics.
So powerful, helpful.
Right. Okay, so you would start there. I am a powerful and helpful. What was your role?
Coach. And so in roles, do you choose 2 words as well, or 1?
Sorry?
When you choose the second bit, is
1
it 2
word?
Then leader.
Leader. So you're powerful and helpful leader. And what is it you think you do?
Take business to the next level.
Takes business to the next level. And what is it people say you do?
Push through their limits.
Perfect. Now, Inga's got a slight advantage to everyone else listening, because Inga has actually been through this exercise a number of times with me. But as you can see, by using that, we've already started to craft a sentence. Now, if we were working together one-on-one, what would happen is I would take that, I'm a powerful and helpful leader who, sorry, Inga, what was it? Who takes businesses to the next level and helps them to put, by helping them to push through their limits. So we would look at that And we would actually play with that a little bit more so that it becomes a much more powerful and robust statement. So I am a powerful and helpful leader. So when you say that, Inga, how does that feel? What does that bring up for you?
Well, the word leader, was the role of the leader, is the new roles that I'm trying on this year. So, and it inspires and scares me. But this is like the new roles that I want to live.
Right. So when Inga speaks about that, for those of you that have emotional intelligence background, you can see that she's feeling it. She is a powerful and helpful leader, there's no doubt, who helps take businesses to the next level. So when you say that, Inga, in terms of I'm a powerful and helpful leader, if you just repeat that with the part of your sentence.
I'm a powerful and helpful leader that takes businesses to the next level.
Right. So as you can see, that's still a bit cumbersome at the moment. So we would work with that just to refine it a little bit. So helps business take business to the next level. One of the other things that you could say is I'm a powerful and helpful leader who transforms businesses as they upscale.
This sounds much better. No, but it because, time constraints, I didn't think through.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But I think like for people who do it on their own, it's important to talk it out loud. So the way how we do now, yes, they don't have you to feedback, but I think it's also when you talk it out loud, it's also helpful.
But also I'm on Gayle Edwards Brand New on Instagram and also on LinkedIn.
Great. So we will put all the details. People can connect with you and take the conversation further. So thank you so much. It was really delightful interview and very practical. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.